trying to attend remotely for the regular meeting. Who needs? Did you let Kurt know that? He's the one that told me.
That,
Is it up to me to call him?
Well, I think we need a quorum.
Oh. One, two,
oh man, my hair is.
we got four, that's not it.
Want me to go out in the street and see if I can find anybody?
Yep. Oh, no, that's nobody. Oh, well. What do we do?
Is Darren calling?
No,
I'm just kidding.
not yet.
It's too cold in here.
Since we are not taking any action, we don't
Better
have
make
an,
sure.
we don't have an attorney to ask.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, well,
Bobby,
don't we need 5 to vote on 5 minutes? We would, but we're all, yeah, unless we just convert it to 5. Let's see what it can
we're not voting on anything. We're not voting on anything.
No.
I wonder if they know that.
Maybe not. We don't really have it on that form. I mean, you gotta sign it to speak at the first one. We removed both of them. There is only one signed in. I guess we've got time to wait. I mean, if only one person's gonna talk for 5 minutes.
Mr. Duckman, how
This
are
is
you?
truly optional. I mean, I just put it on there so we can increase the time because Michelle and Rob thought 3 wouldn't be enough. That it'd be more fair to change it for this meeting only.
Form of the
If
agenda.
there's only one, they can talk for 5 minutes and it'll be over.
We were gonna vote to let them give, instead of 3 minutes, we were gonna give them 5. We were-
Raised our hand.
Yeah, but we do have, Michelle will explain it. We do have quite an audience
not
to
do that.
explain it too, so that's
Okay.
first.
You guys
Yep,
decide.
that would be fine. That even crossed my mind, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it is, public input comment section.
Yeah, it
That's
goes
just
more.
to say they get,
Over in Ireland,
Yeah.
here they go,
Is that what
What do we need, 5 for a quorum?
we get started.
Aaron Olson from 23 News, he took a group
I
and she's
just
in
had
that
that
group.
down halfway, those two
I
can
mean, the worst thing that happens when you
She's
go
in
to
that group,
quorum
yeah.
is it negates the action that was taken.
I sent her a text, she never responded, so
We're
I'm
not
assuming they
taking
may
any
not get them
action.
over there.
We got a lot of people here
Right.
that might wanna be
It
talking,
was gonna go, but it was
And they
over six,
expected
a
to
little
get
over $6,000.
and we're probably gonna cut them off at 6 o'clock.
It's too much for me.
Yeah.
They asked him won't fly, so.
You won't?
Yeah, it has to be a girl's
We
trip, I
can,
guess.
if
Yeah.
it's acceptable, we can start calling and texting other council members.
I hadn't
Yeah.
flown.
We're not mad at you, we don't have a
I hadn't
quorum
flown
yet.
in years, so
It is
I-
okay. to
last
text
weekend I
and
did
call
fly to
council
Vegas.
members to get a quorum.
that was really nice. I hadn't flown in years, so I understand.
I say we start.
We're not voting on anything. It's just information.
I just said to him, the first thing about holding a meeting without a quorum is it negates the action that's taken. We're not taking it.
Which that's what you mainly do is budgets.
Right, we're not voting on anything.
Half my year audit, yeah.
It was publicized. I mean, that's just like if we had a community meeting, would it be the same thing if we
Yeah,
had a
like a
community?
public hearing, but it wasn't advertised as this.
What would it advertise as?
It is a finance committee.
Oh, okay.
I Good evening, everybody. I think we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. We don't have a quorum, but because there's no action by the council, we're just listening tonight. So I think I'd go ahead and, if you could call the roll, please.
Mayor Miller is absent. Alderpersons Clem.
Here,
Monroe is absent, as well as Simmons. Parker.
Here.
Stacy is absent. Shadle.
Here.
Sanders is absent, and Sellers.
Here.
And I will note again, that is without a quorum.
Thank you. And then I'll lead the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag Thank you. Now, we need a motion to give a little extra time by section 220.10.23B. The rules of the council, it limits public comments to 3 minutes. We'd like to make that 5 minutes if we could have a motion.
so move.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we will go with a 5-minute. And item 6 would be the overview of the budgeting process, just to give everybody an idea what's going on, and that was Finance Director Michelle Richter, please.
Thank you, Alderman Shadle. To begin with, I'd like to mention that the City of Freeport currently maintains 31 different funds within the city's books, along with 13 active grants or restricted funds. Of these, the general fund maintains the majority of the day-to-day activities for the City of Freeport. The reason why I'm mentioning those numbers is it is quite a bit of information. Each fund is viewed as a standalone, and we will be presenting each of these to council over the next couple months. The fiscal year for the City of Freeport is a calendar year. So right now, we're going to be beginning the work on our fiscal year of 2025, which will be January through December of 2025. We begin our budget process in July with initial steps by the Finance Department to kind of lay out the process for the year, look at checking dates, and reviewing with the city manager how he would like the process to move forward. We also inform the department heads of that process as well. In August, we asked the department heads to start reviewing their budgets and prepare for any new requirements that maybe their department is seeing come up. We asked them to review their software needs, personnel needs, and any capital needs. They also begin data entry of some information into our financial software to start the ball rolling within their department, or any of those funds that I mentioned, the ones that they oversee. They might be doing their department, but they might also be doing 1, 2, 3 other funds as well, not only their department, things that they oversee. The Finance Department, we then go through, we compile and tabulate the budgetary information submitted by the individual departments, and we begin the preparation of a preliminary budget in cooperation with the city manager. In September, we begin the process of reviewing each fund, department, and grant with the city council. The meetings are usually held prior to city council meetings at a finance committee of the whole. We put out an agenda, and if the entire subject matter for that agenda is not completed, usually we schedule them for 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. If that agenda is not completed within that hour, we will continue that agenda after the council meeting, so we can encompass everything that we need to do for that meeting, since there are so many funds to go through. This process continues through October and November as we review each of the department's requests. We will also look at the capital needs of the city and present those to council as well. These items are the larger ticket items related to infrastructure, vehicles, or other necessary equipment. Even after a segment of the budget has been presented, there may be changes to the budget when we come to the very end in November. This happens, for example, if we get awarded a grant at the beginning of November that we didn't know about earlier in the process, we'll incorporate that into the budget. However, all of these, anything that comes up at the last minute that might be changed is also presented to the council a second time. Before the end of the year, the end of this calendar year, the city will also set their tax levy, and we will pass an appropriation ordinance for 2025 that begins January 1st of 2025. That is the goal, and I am sure we'll achieve that. So tonight is the beginning process of our budget. Starting next week, we will begin the review of our, a few of our departments in our general fund, beginning at 5 o'clock on Monday, the 9th. So that's what I have.
Thank you. If you could note that Alderperson Simmons,
I have Simmons entering at 5:06 and Stacy at 5:10. I'm 5:08. We had a quorum with Simmons.
very good. I am noticing that I forgot item 4 on here, approval of the agenda. We could get a motion.
So move.
Second.
We need a roll on that.
Oh, we won't with,
Okay, with the limited amount. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No, okay. And that takes us to the public comment portion. There is one person signed, Carol Bonger. Okay. Is there anybody have any comments, questions? Manager Boyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just also for everyone here, the purpose of this, we haven't done this before. At the last budget planning process last year, a request was made that we have some community input that happened before the process got started, potentially sometime in the middle, and then, of course, we had some community input at the end. So the whole purpose of this is to engage the community, allow everyone to discuss on a 3-minute or 5-minute basis some of the areas that our residents feel that there needs to be additional focus or different priorities as far as the budget's concerned. So, and the idea there is to try to take that into consideration in terms of the department heads as we move through the budgeting process, and also to see what we can do to accommodate those priorities. So with that, I just want to go ahead and turn this back over to Chairman.
Thank you. That being said, is there anybody that has any comments?
Doing good.
Alderman Clem?
Mr. Chair, just a couple things, and this would be for the public's knowledge also. Last year, Alderman Shadle was elected as chairman, and Alderman Sellers was elected as vice chairman of the Finance Committee. That's how this started up, and we're in the setup where we're at. So the only other thing I would say to you is please feel at any time to come forward with any information that you may have, and I guess I'd ask the question, can aldermen at this time mention anything that they see that they'd like to get in, or would we save that for the process as we start in the next weeks?
I see nothing wrong with that, absolutely. If any aldermen have any comments?
Could I make a comment?
You may.
I just like to point out one spot in the budget, and I believe we've really done good in the last couple years of bringing up our staff to some of the numbers that is needed, okay? We've had great success in the fire department and excellent success in the police department here lately. But I believe we've got a public works department and street department that, in my mind, could use additional personnel as far as being able to do more work at the same time, being able to have more people that they need on call and that kind of stuff. If we go back in time, I guess the thing I'd mention is we're probably, I'm going to guess, and tell me if I'm wrong, Rob, are we in the 20s currently? We're in the 20s. When everybody talks about a million years ago, when Bill Turner got this done and that done and so on and so forth, keep in mind we had 37 people, okay? One of the problems that I see exists is if we have 3 guys call off, okay, in the street department, all of a sudden we aren't doing tree work, or we aren't sweeping, or we aren't doing other items. I believe that we should take a look at seriously adding to this particular department. I believe overall it could do nothing but help us in the long run. I believe we're behind on wages in that department that we're working on, but I really believe it. For example, I guess this year everybody says it and everybody notices it. The amount of street work that's going on from whether it be here or complete rebuilds, or and there's some fantastic streets out there, and we need to keep that work going. And in my opinion, okay, and this is just my opinion, on the last streets that these guys have done, it's absolutely been 100% professional work. You take a look at, you drive down Oak Street compared to what it was, you look at Chicago Street, you look at Dirk Drive, you look at many of the others. These guys have done a fantastic job, but their limitations are on how wide the street is, okay? That's one of the things where we can't do, as I mean in the city, can't do certain streets on account of the width of them. And we do streets at thousands of dollars less per foot than we have to hire them out. So I believe it's very advantageous for us to not only when it comes time for whether it be snow plowing, whether it be tree trimming is, let's face it, we can cut trees down all year long. We're now subbing some of that out. I'm not saying that's wrong, because we've got some partnerships that are excellent in that. But my opinion is that department that we should take a look at and see what we could do. And it's nothing that's a crisis today, but as we're working on the budget, I think it would be advantageous overall to everybody to take a look at that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Alderperson Seller.
I'd like to also agree with Alderman Clem on that. I think that's been one of my biggest concerns, is I would like to, somewhere in the budget, that we can support that department and support them where they stay here. You know, they're not getting the proper wages. So I think that's another big thing that we can try to put on our line item. And then another thing that I would like to see, if that, I know that even today out at Walmart, I was stopped again by a young lady, well, a young lady, about the dilapidated homes and all of that. And I know we have the money, and I know there's a plan in place, but I think also showing and letting people getting the information of knowing when some of them are coming down, where, what streets, you know, and things like that, so that they don't have to constantly ask people, you know, when they're seeing them. So that was just my thing that I would like to see throughout the community, some more of the information on the dilapidated homes and stuff.
Anybody else? Yes, sir. If you could, you're fine if not.
Okay, I can talk loud.
You do that for a living.
Somewhat. Okay, but
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? There,
More fun.
that's fine.
Hi, good evening, thank you. Joshua. Couple things, just the first three comments that were made about the budget, about the streets, Tom Clem is right, spot on. I'm in the firm belief that, we need to get people working. It causes more work to get done at a cheaper price, and it gets people off our streets taking care of the city that needs a lot of help. The rubbish, if we manned up our public works department, would we have the personnel able to go out there and take care of some of that stuff, so this gentleman here wouldn't have to spend $300 to do it himself? I'm curious, is while you guys are talking about this, how does the 1% tax increase this year affect the budget moving forward? Now that that money is dedicated towards, I don't know how it's working right now, but dedicated towards that account to get us grants and all that stuff. So in theory, had we not done that, less of the other money would be going towards streets, which would free up funds for other things. I don't know, but I'm hoping that we're thinking of that as a council. Excuse me, sorry. The other thing that hasn't been mentioned yet, but you guys just started, was the other issue in town with crime, gun violence, all that kind of stuff. I hope that we are seriously looking into, when we have these conversations, talking to the chief here, what do they need? What more do they need? Me as a resident in Freeport, I'd love to see all the money in the world go to that police department so we can clean that stuff up, because we're not going to get the businesses, we're not going to get the reputation that, Freeport deserves by neglecting that aspect. If we need more police officers, if we need more K-9 units, whatever it may be, let's figure out how we can use funds in our budget or make the budget work to make that happen. We're tired as residents, we're tired of seeing gun violence, we're tired of seeing crime, and that's not an easy fix, and we believe we all understand that takes money, and that money's got to come from somewhere. So I hope that's part of the discussion, that we don't ignore what's needed on that aspect. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Nobody else has any comments? Go ahead.
I just would like to remind everyone that at every finance committee of the whole, there is still the public comment before and after, and I would welcome anybody to use that time to comment if you're not thinking of it tonight, or if you're not comfortable. Every week there will be public comment at the beginning and end.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Does anybody have any other discussion? Just so we make sure, that's my own,
Yeah.
we got a half an hour yet, so.
So, once you guys start this process here, are you posting, the preliminary budget so the residents can look at it and offer some either insight or opinions either way? Is that made public to where we can see it beforehand so that we know kind of what we're looking at, or can help form those opinions? Is that something that happens?
Greg or Michelle?
So the section of the budget that we'll be reviewing, say on that Monday night, will be posted with the link to the agenda of the finance cow. So that only the section that we have done, because usually it's kind of a rollout, so I don't have everything done at once. And so the section that we look at that Monday night will be posted with the agenda on Friday.
Do you know where we can compare that to this year's budget?
This year's budget is on my webpage.
Okay.
And the sections that are posted have comparables. So it'll have, where we are this year, what the budget was last year, what the actual was. So there will be comparables on the sheet that's linked to the agenda.
And then also at the meetings, on the display that's given, it shows the actual budget for this year, where we're at with that budget as far as today, and then it gives what next year's budget is gonna be. So that's all, it's, a lot of those line items are given to the director, and at the last minute, they're working on them all week, so it's not really something that can be given out too much ahead of time. There'll be, what'll come out ahead tied to the agenda is what items we'll be talking about, but the hard numbers will come out more at the meeting, just because of the time it takes to get it organized.
Greg, if I could-
Alderman Clement.
just to go along with Greg, what Greg said, keep in mind it'll be all displayed up on this screen, okay? And you'll be able to go across and compare things, but also keep in mind there will be some things as we move forward, if we take a section this week and we think that it needs discussion, it may come up some other time in the thing. So we'll go back to some of these and go back and forth as we move forward. So there's plenty of time for discussion. It isn't as though bing, bing, there you are. And then there's a time frame in between that and when the actual budget has to be done, and there's a certain date that the budget absolutely has to be done by. And what's that, Michelle?
Oh, I'm looking at Dovey. It's,
Uh-huh.
Early
The
December.
last Tuesday of, yeah.
Yeah.
It has to go to the county. It goes to the county clerk last Tuesday in December.
So that's why you may see, if you hear, the other day I heard Rockford or one of the cities mention that they were gonna start the budget next month or the month after. We leave a big time period though there, and we leave a time period before each meeting where we talk about the finance end of it. So there is plenty of time, and there's time for anybody in the public to bring anything forward that they'd like to.
No other comments? We had a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Opposed?